Guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, former Air Force Special Warfare. We have John, Army guy. Between us, a lot of years of military service. Now, we're talking about a very interesting topic today, and that is going to be personal defense weapons and considerations for civilian usage. The world's getting crazy, guys, and the problem with that is that you might not always be dealing with people who know that the world is getting crazy. So as things get more insane, as potentially the lives of your family members or of yourself find themselves within threat, how do you set yourself up to protect yourself? Now, John, you were recently watching Brass Tacks, and he actually had some really good input on these ideas, which kind of made us come up with the video that we have today. John, do you want to go ahead and introduce the topic a little bit more?
Yeah, so I think Brass Tacks said it best. More or less, the line he was going with was, so society's decaying, whether it's going to be into complete lawlessness or not, but most people don't want to accept it. So even if you can see the writing on the wall, so it's really it's a balancing act, right? Everyone has their like go to war rifle or whatever, but if
I want to carry around a full URGI thermals, everything on me, but I can't carry that around everywhere. I wish I could. Well, you can.
Yeah.
Just you might make yourself more of a target, so there's a lot there.
Yeah. So the whole balancing act part, you can just immediately bring that stuff around, but you're immediately going to paint yourself as a target. So the civilian PDW it's a balancing act of how much concealability, portability, and also budget is a big concern, but also how much capability do you realistically need? As things progressively get worse and worse, then yeah, you're going to step into full-size rifles, but I mean, who knows how long that's going to take. And the second you start carrying around that full-size 416 or URGI, then you're a huge target. But something like this, it's a different story.
That's a big fact. So we're going to be going over a lot of different categories of guns. We have handguns, we have brace handguns, we have submachine guns, and of course we have full-on rifles. We're going to be showing those to you guys in real enough world scenarios so that you can see the performance. We'll be talking about setups. We'll be showing you everything that we can today on Garand, personal defense weapons. Come here. This content is free. You pay for the internet, but not for this content. This content is kept free by Paranoia. A big thank you to them. They sponsor the channel. More importantly, they have amazing optics. The HTX1, the compact 1-8s, everything that they have is awesome. We love them. And you know what? With the new year, it's a new you. So email them and say, hey, new year, new me, what do I need? Maybe a hug, maybe a new optic. We don't know. Go check them out. Guys, of course, if you're looking to become more American, we have Henry Repeating Arms. Oh, Lord. So, the more I shoot, the more I just learn to appreciate a good old piece of Americana history, and that is lever action. And here's the thing. They got everything you could possibly want, so go and give them tons of love. We, of course, have henryfilm.com, but we can't really talk about that. Go check them out, guys. We love them so much. Of course, if you want to get better at shooting, we recommend Mantis for dry fire. It makes dry fire fun. Don't worry about the haters, guys. Have a good time. Ammunition is sponsored for by AAC. With all that being said, talk is cheap, and let's get shooting because it'll be a lot of fun. No, guys, this isn't a survival video per se. In fact, we're not going to be in an abandoned city somewhere in the U.S. showing you how to survive in the apocalypse. That'll be in a couple months here. But there still are some survival considerations that we should talk about when it comes to surviving in a society that begins to decay. So when we talk about firearms are awesome. You need them to protect yourself. However, one of the best ways to survive is going to be avoiding the fight, unless you need to take the fight to somebody. But avoiding the fight, getting your family away, de-escalation, these are all very important techniques. Now, these are not necessarily techniques that we'll be talking about today, but understand that this is something that you should study up on. Now, right here, we do have a pack. We have a couple different survival items, couple items that you might want to consider. John, you want to speak to this a little bit?
Just say, look, the best way to avoid having to use any of this is, of course, not even going anywhere near the potential for danger, but you might not have that option. And this is, of course, if all those other options fail. Also think about like the survivability onion. That's like a big thing with like tankers, which is, of course, don't be detected, don't be seen, don't be engaged, and then it goes from there.
That's good. I like that.
That applies to just normal, like, everyday life, but especially for something like
tanks know that.
Not anymore.
So right here, John brings up some really good points. Right here, we have a few items in the pack. Obviously, things like water, food, medical is going to be important. So let's talk about this. A couple items that we have in here. We have a waterproof bag with a VS17 panel. A VS17 panel is just a high visibility panel that can be used for signaling. Whether this be used between your family, whether this be used with friendly forces, or with other guys that you're training with, this is something that's good. Whether it's a VS-17 panel or something different. Previously in the military, guys have used like high-vis flag patches and other things, but something to be able to visually identify yourself is good. Another thing that we have in here, this is like the fun bag, like everybody would want.
It's a backpack full of 50 grenades.
Yeah. Right here we have one of the IWA thermobarics. Basically extremely loud and concussive. These have gotten really good at this point, and we love the guys over at IWA, so definitely give them a look-see. These are great for de-escalation, for other things. Most people don't expect something like that. So you might say to yourself, well, I've had flashbangs go off my head, and it's no big deal. Well, throw it at somebody who's never had a flashbang go off by their head, and they're going to often change their minds.
Those are also really good for detecting people. Like, for example, a lot of times whenever we would throw flashbangs into a room, it wasn't even to like immediately enter. It's just if you hear something scuttling around in like the back left of the room, okay, I know someone's in there, and the next thing that's going in is a hand grenade.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I was in a room and something, I hear a spoon pop off and something land right next to me, I'm probably not staying still.
Yeah.
No, honestly.
So you can echolocate people with that stuff.
Like a dolphin.
Yeah, actually, become a dolphin.
Another thing that that we love to talk about are flex cuffs. Whether it be handcuffs, flex cuffs, these are good things to have on you. These are multi-use items that can be used on more than just wrists. They can also be used on feet. Big thing, as an escape specialist, I taught how to get out of these a lot. If you are cinching somebody down, make sure that their wrists are turned in or out, depending on how you want to do it. But the way to escape from one of these is to create space right there. So if you see somebody starting to turn their wrists into the joint right there,
Head tap them.
honestly, it means they're probably trained, and that gives you a lot of really good knowledge on that particular individual. So again, get that wrist sucked all the way in there. Another thing we have in here is just a little ear pro. A big thing that we're going to be talking about today is going to be sound signature. I think Brass Facts said it pretty good. What did he say about a gun?
So you'll see this every time there's like a riot in the U.S. or anything like that, and someone uses a handgun defensively or offensively, justified or not. That's what he said is pretty much like a dinner bell for like bad actors, or for you guys that play Tarkov and games like that, getting third-partied. So
It's true.
it doesn't matter to them if it was justified or not. You're the guy with the gun that shot, so like people just come running from everywhere, basically.
From all the riots in 2020, think about any time anybody fired off a weapon, they were immediately swarmed, right or wrong. Yeah. So these are things to think about. So you might need ear pro. Another thing is going to be suppressors, and we'll talk about that later. And then finally, of course, last but far from least, probably most important, is going to be your med kits. Doesn't really matter which med kit you're getting. What matters are the contents of it. Generally, we recommend something from North American Rescue. They put together really good med kits, and there are people that we stand behind. But a tourniquet, at the very least, the last thing you want to do is a hand grenade on the ground. And then, of course, a full med kit so that you can take care of all the random stuff that could possibly happen to you.
Make sure it's a Cat Gen 7 TQ. You can tell by the gray tab, and make sure it's a legit one. I'm pretty sure you can get it straight from their website. I wouldn't trust third party on Amazon.
Buy it from North American Rescue. As far as websites that sell only legitimate stuff, they're a website I trust. Do not skimp out and buy it from Amazon and possibly,
Yeah, imagine trusting your life to a $15 tourniquet over a $35.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to spend an extra $15. Like, as you're bleeding out, windlass breaks,
yeah,
you're like,
it's just crack.
Cool. Looks like I'm dead. So that's just like a short little primer on packs. Another great thing about packs is you can obviously put rifles in them, different types of subguns. So they are very good. Now with a pack, try to be low pro. I'm not saying like wear like a Hello Kitty one, look like an idiot, but wear something that everybody else is wearing. That's going to depend on where you are. The backpacks that people wear in New York are going to be very different from the backpacks that people wear in Boise, Idaho, out in the country. So find whatever's not going to make you stand out, and make sure that you blend in. When we say gray man, we don't mean dress up in gray. By gray man, we mean you look like the rest of the population. So that's a short primer on things that you can carry on you. Backpack full of grenades.
It's normal everyday stuff.
All the love to him. He's a very nice guy in real life, I'll say that. He's a very nice guy. He's always been kind to me. Let's see here. So with all that being said, guys, let's get into the first section, handguns. Handguns. They're great. What makes them so great is it's going to be very easy to carry a handgun on your person. conceal carry it. It's always on you. This is going to be step one, almost always going to be a handgun. Now, there are pluses and minuses to it, so let's go ahead and let's delve into this. Now, we have several categories of handguns right here on the table. We have your typical, this was like the meta for how many years?
For a long time, like the late 2010s was a Glock 19, sometimes with a dot and the light, usually.
Yeah.
But it's like a not a subcompact handgun, but and not quite a full size, just on the smaller side, decently portable, decently concealable.
Nice thing about Glocks as well is that it's very easy to add on lights, to remove them, to customize as you need it. But what's nice about the 19 is it's small enough to conceal carry, and it's also large enough to shoot well. If you don't know, the smaller you go with a handgun, the harder it is to grip, the more it recoils. There's a balancing act there. But with increases in technology and what we understand about recoil, we now have some very good options. So John right here has his personal 43X.
Yeah, so this is like the min-max, whatever. I'd say it's
Min-max.
stippling. So yeah, it's just a...
It's like stock tier. This is the S tier,
Yeah.
43X.
So take stock 43X MOS, Apex trigger, Streamlight, TLR, a Radian ramjet, Holosun EPS carry, and then the Radian magwell. And to me, this is perfect. It's getting close to like the length of a 19, but it's a lot slimmer.
And it's easier to carry because of that. Because one thing is that, as it's fatter, it's going to push out more. And so we're going to be testing these directly along some other handguns because, as you can see, roughly the same size, but with the comp, it's going to be interesting to see which one feels better as far as performance-wise. Another very important consideration is going to be cost. We're not all rich as heck or Bill Gates and you just buy islands.
Yeah.
But so you got to think about costs. A Glock 19, a stock Glock 19 runs between 500 and 600, or used you can get them for about 400. The 43X, similar, but with all the extra doodads tricked out, you're spending more money. So the question is although I can trick this out and get the performance up, it's going to be a question for you. Is it something you can actually afford? That's always going to be a consideration.
I'd say grand total, that 43X as it stands is almost twice the cost as that 19 with an RMR on it. And it's like, yeah, of course it's smaller, but like, do you get, a little bit more shootability? So is it worth it?
Is it worth it? And that's a question that we can't necessarily answer for you because we're not you. That's going to be a question for your own finances. Now, this discussion of cost is going to be brought up in all the other categories that we're talking about. So we have your most basic handguns. And then, of course, you can go to full-size handguns. So whether it be something like right here, we have the Glock 47. You have your typical full-size 17-size handgun. These are great, just a little bit harder to conceal carry depending on the weather. During the winter, I conceal carry a 17 or a 47 all day long because I have so many layers on. It's easy. But if you're in a warmer environment, it might be a little bit more tricky. Right here, we have a Beretta M9A4 for all my GWAT guys out there. But we also notice that we have a threaded barrel. So here's where it's going to get interesting when it comes to handguns is, like we talked about, if you discharge a weapon, it's loud. It's going to bring people to you. Being able to possibly suppress that noise is very, very nice to have. Now, there is one thing. Suppressors on handguns are notoriously finicky. Mm-hmm. So understand that suppressing a handgun, it's not something I would necessarily count on. We have a really nice suppressor here. We have one of the Huxworks, the newer cans that they have, very lightweight, very little effect, and with the Nielsen device, it should run 100%. And it typically does. They just get your guns very dirty. So understand that although you can quiet the noise on a handgun, you're not going to get the reliability you would get over something like a pistol caliber carbine and a submachine gun, or possibly suppressing a rifle. So first thing we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to run a basic drill going out of the car with these handguns, and we're going to see how they compare.
We got a defensive drill set up right here. We got the steel at about 30-ish meters, 25 meters. So that's gonna be the first target. Mike is gonna identify that he's a threat, aka whenever the beeper goes off. Engage him with 2 rounds. Another threat right there, 2 rounds. He's gonna take off, getting to his vehicle to escape. So right about here, he's gonna notice there's a guy approaching with a weapon of some kind. 2 rounds was lastly getting in his vehicles to get out of that situation. And he's got another surprise visitor right here. So I think it's going to be a good evaluation of all the weapons, whether it's shootability at a little bit of distance, and then also how well you can maneuver inside a vehicle. So I think it's a good test overall.
Let's run out these handguns. Let's see what feels good.
Yeah, 1167.
$914. Cool. We got Alpha Charlie. Right here we have an Alpha Delta. This is fairly common on a follow-up shot. We got Alpha Delta. Then we got 2 Alpha stacked very cleanly right here with John's. Good shooting, John.
Shoot ready. Stand by.
$12.10. Roughly half second. Slower than the 19.
The grip's a little too thin for me. 2 Alpha. Alpha Charlie, not quite a line break. And then we got Alpha Charlie right there. $993. Consistent Alphas.
Keep in mind, that's Mike's first time shooting my handgun. So, and he was slightly slower than his run with the 19. So that just gets back to training. If you don't train, you're going to suck.
Alpha Charlie, good. And then Alpha Charlie on the far one as well. We'll show you the, we got Alpha Charlie. Now, with each of those, they made a lot of noise. Let's show you what it's like getting a little quieter first.
Shoot ready. Stand by.
$30.84.
Let's talk about it. Not too bad for threading that on, right?
I mean, yeah, you made good hits on all of them too. So
We got Alphas, Alpha Delta. So if you don't see, this one doesn't have suppressor right sights, so you're just shooting it through the suppressor. That's more of a setup problem than anything. And then we got Alpha Charlie, and then we got 2 on steel. So not too bad. Let's break it down.
that's how you know a Huxworks owner has been here.
So we just finished our little competition here. We're going to talk about our thoughts and how they felt to shoot. But first off, I think the elephant in the room is going to be suppressors. So we wanted to show you threading on a suppressor. The biggest thing with that is you're going to have a thread protector. So you have to take that off first. You don't want to run it without a thread protector because those delicate threads could get damaged and then, well, you're never going to mount your suppressor up. Now, obviously, once we mounted it, we see this little tape trick right here. Now, we did not come up with that. That came from Drew Hopkins from Dirty Civilian. We love those guys. Go give them a lot of love. But all you're doing is you're wrapping electrical tape around it based on the number of turns you need to get it down to the bottom. So all you have to do is tighten it at that point. So it was 5 wraps for us, correct, John?
Yeah.
Yep. And so once you have it basically threaded on, you're just going to get it lined up, get like 1 or 2 threads on there, and then you're just going to pull it, give it a little cinch down, and then you're good to go.
It's actually a genius idea.
It's a great idea. Now, another thing that you saw too is I didn't have a round chambered when I was doing that. You don't want to be working and threading on a suppressor with a round chamber if you can help it. I understand things get crazy. That's why we ran it with an empty chamber. Now, with all that being said, obviously a suppressor is going to be great if you can get one because of the dinner bell. But let's talk about how the pistols performed and what we liked.
19 versus 43X. I love the 19. I used to have one. It's kind of like you said earlier. It was like the meta for a really long time.
Still the meta. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
It is fantastic. But like moving to something like this and putting more money into it, like I mean, at least for me, I like the little bit of performance gain. Yes, I know that it is a lot more money. For me, it's worth it. It's a little bit skinnier. I like how it fits into a lot of concealed carry holsters. It's very, very, very slim. But you probably already have one of these, and I mean, it works. You're used to this more than the tiny pistol I get at this point, because that's what I train with a lot. And yeah, you did better with this versus the 43X.
And to be clear, the 43X was easier for me to shoot. This gun does have very little recoil, so let's talk about that for one moment. The 19, I love it. I'm used to the fatter grip. The 43X is kind of slim. I'm surprised, John, because you got bigger hands than me. So for me, it's a little bit hard to grip on the 43X because the grip is so small. I like just a fatter grip. It's just easier for me with my pistol grip. So that's the only issue I ran into with the 43X. If I had the 19 with the Radiant Ramjet on there and that light setup, this would be cash money. So obviously, guys, you're going to get a performance increase from adding that stuff on. It's just, does it make sense monetarily for you to do so? And that's going to be your own. Just figure that out.
You're also getting into more proprietary. Like, for example, this only likes the micro red dots that are coming out now, which, to be fair, there's a lot of them and they aren't that expensive. But this is more of like a, I guess you could say, legacy micro optic pattern. Like, of course, the good old RMR. Also, we were running 17 round mags in it. We could quickly throw in the 33 round stick if we want. I can't do that with my 43X. Like, the best I have is these 15 round magazines, which these have been good, but it's still
From PSA makes those ones, correct?
Yeah, the micro dagger.
Yeah, those were great.
They've been very reliable. It's just there's only 15 rounds versus I mean, if you wanted to, you could put the 33 round stick mag in your head.
And I did run the 17 mag in here. You can over insert on them, but otherwise fine.
And that kind of gets into the idea of resupply. If things do get violent and you find someone who doesn't need their gun anymore and happens to be a Glock 17 or something like that, then you can use their mags.
Very, very common handgun. Caliber, I'm sure you guys are going to bring it up. Carry whatever you like. We recommend 9mm. Obviously, 40 and 45 are an increase in ballistic performance, but ammo is going to be a little bit harder to source. Sorry, for all you boomers out there, 9mm far outpaces everything else. Now, pistols, awesome. Suppressor, awesome, you can get it. Now, let's talk about a hybrid option, and that is going to be the brace or the chassis system for a pistol. So we have two different examples here. So right here we have the micro running. You can literally just drop a Glock 17 into this, and you pretty much have yourself a much more stable platform. You can have better optics on here, you can have lights on here, and in fact, they do have a version now that's cut down so that if you have a dot on your slide, then you can simply use that dot on your slide. So there are a lot of different options. Obviously, you have the Flex Raiders and stuff right here. We have one for the P365. These are cool because you can actually get holsters that work with this entire thing so that when you draw your gun, it's going to automatically deploy that stock. So for some people, I actually do see a good amount of people now moving over to some of the smaller Flux chassis systems simply because of the, stay out my fucking lane. Simply because you can conceal carry a very effective weapon. You can shoot it like a handgun if you need to, or you can deploy that little brace right there. We'll run a shorter drill with these two just to point out how useful it is. And just so you understand, this right here, all you're doing, out of there, simply just ripping that thing out of there. Now, again, if you have an optic on here, you have different kits, and this isn't the only kit out there. We're just showing it to you so you guys have an idea.
Shoot pistols, like you can get good at it with training, but pistols are just they're just hard to shoot. Like, you only have 2 points of contact on it.
Yep.
Going from just a pistol to something like this with a brace, you now have a 3rd and 4th point of contact on the gun, and that helps with indexing the weapon and also recoil control. Like, whenever I was zeroing this, we were pinging steel at 100, like, no problem. But
much easier
with a pistol. I mean, I can do that, but a lot of it's also luck. Like, let's be real. Yeah. It just makes it easier. But of course, then there's the downside. This is extra cost. I mean, you can conceal that if you have a giant coat on, but it's just like we're talking about earlier. It's a balancing act. Like, is it worth it for you with your stock gun to get this chassis and then put like a primary arms dot on it or something like that, and then now you have a sorta PCC. So I mean, it's up to you really.
options. Let's see how they run.
Get ready. Stand by.
$11.41.
Sorry, I gave him 3.
Why not? Yeah, you probably would have been like 11.20 without it.
Nice. Cool.
But like, you can already tell whenever you look at these hits, the accuracy is definitely tighter groupings.
So we got all alpha right here because mentally handicapped. I put both of those right off the alpha. Still good. I'll take it.
He's only kind of dead.
He's only kind of dead. It hit like the side of the lungs. He's just kind of. What? .991. You're very consistent in the 9s. I mean, you beat me because you got 1 alpha on that one.
It's for a somewhat I mean, I guess I could say maybe crude design. It is a little bit of a performance.
It isn't just because you have all those points of contact, you can really suck into the gun and control it. Let's go and try out the flux.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Five.
How loud was that?
Very.
Very loud. Alpha's Charlie, Alpha Charlie. Then down there, he got Alpha Charlie again. All right, my turn.
All right, you're ready. Stand by.
.1362.
Oh, that's an uncomfortable gun.
Yeah.
Oh, Alpha. Alpha. Charlies. 2 Charlies down there. Okay. Let's go and let's break down brace pistols. Now, there are a ton of chassis systems for brace or stocked handguns. We just have 2 right here. So, from our experience, these smaller fluxes, they're very cool. They're definitely uncomfortable to fire, especially with the 365 we have right here with the comp. Do the comp, how close your face is to that guy right there. Like, it is just not super comfortable to fire. That being said, I could definitely control the weapon really well with everything on there. It's just, I definitely felt the concussion from it a lot, like far more than any of these guns right here, which even with Ear Pro, and that's something to talk about because if you got a comp gun, no Ear Pro.
I will say it is impressive though, comparing this folded up.
Oh yeah, it definitely, there's something to be said about it. It's all going to be a choice. Now, go over to the micro running and to the even more abbreviated one they have. This one's actually pretty comfortable to fire.
Yeah, actually.
Like, we meme on it all the time, but I actually kind of like shooting this. Wasn't bad at all.
I like how easily scalable this is, because like if this is stowed, we just got like a 17 rounder in here, you could have like a 15 rounder right there. And then you pop it out, and then whether you're shooting or not, if you want to, do more rounds, then there goes a 33 round stick, and then this plus a extension.
Yeah, it really does allow you to. I see a lot of guys will carry like the 33 up front, so when they pop their 17 in after they do that first mag, they just throw that 33 in. There's a lot of options there, so definitely a lot of viability when it comes to that. The problem comes into the fact that with a lot of these systems, like the Fluxes, you can add a suppressor if you have a threaded barrel. The problem is you're still suppressing a pistol. It still needs a Nielsen device to make the suppressor work with the handgun, and you still don't have the reliability you'd see from the other categories we're going to talk about. So, some definite improvements. This is definitely more niche, I would say, but I will say that for kits where you can just drop your gun in, there's definitely some there's something to be said about that. That is actually much nicer than I thought it was going to be.
One quick thing about suppressing pistols is the one can that I've seen that you pretty much don't need a booster for is the Stealth Additive Works Shiv, which was very impressive. Just know that it's not going to be, it's not loud, but it's not going to be the quietest can. But there are options like that.
There's always a balance to everything, and those do work really well. We do love those guys over there. Okay, both brace chassis systems. Let's move over to PCC's subguns.
So this is definitely you, and this is definitely the guy that she told you not to worry about.
So we have pistol caliber. Damn it, John. We have pistol caliber carbines. Obviously, going up to a pistol caliber carbine, we are seeing a ginormous increase in price. Now, there are pistol caliber carbines that do come at a lower price point. Just understand, if you are betting your life on something, we're not really going to have much of a discussion on this, but buy something that is well vetted. So we have a couple really good pistol caliber carbines right here. We're going to talk about them, show you how it works. So first off, when you step up to a pistol caliber carbine, you get all that control that you get from these chassis systems. You're firing basically the same round. You have a 9mm. Sometimes you'll have a little bit more barrel length, which will add a little bit more velocity. But for the most part, you're looking about the same ballistics. Now, here's the one issue that you run into with a pistol caliber carbine. You can't exactly tuck this in you can tuck it in your waistband, but you're not going to fool anybody. So the concealability on these is much lower. This is something that you might want to have in your pack, for example. So this is where something like, a pistol caliber carbine could excel, because even on the MPX right here, you can fold the stock. So these can fit into backpacks fairly easily if they're not full of grenades already. But the point is, you do gain a lot of capability. And one really nice thing about these is that suppression on a pistol caliber carbine is much, much easier. So with a tri-lug, there are a lot of quick attach options. Right here we have one from B&T. So, boom, just attach it right there. So that makes it really nice where you keep it stowed, very small. And if you notice, this particular one, this is a B&T APC 9K, also takes Glock mags. I know that's always a question, does it take Glock mags? Well, actually it does take Glock mags. So your ability to have the same magazine as the gun you're carrying is much higher. So maybe you're carrying a Glock 17 and then your kind of step-up option is a pistol caliber carbine with a detached suppressor for when things get a lot more hairy.
I absolutely love my MPX, especially with the upgrades from In Lid We Trust. I think it's a
Great guy.
It's an amazing platform with how modular it is. Of course, it's very expensive. The thing I love about it, but also hate, is the magazines. So these magazines they're exceptionally well made. I'm pretty sure Lancer made the originals.
They did.
Which great mags, nothing like no complaints. It's just there's really no cross compatibility that I know of. Versus that B&T with that Glock mag lower. I mean 9mm Glock.
Yep.
Just, without
Takes
outside of
Glock bullets, takes Glock mags.
outside of like something like the 43X, like any 9mm Glock mag, you can just throw in that and then go to work.
And for the APCs in particular, they also have the ability to swap lowers. There's MP5, there's the typical TP9 mags and Glock mags. So that's kind of nice if you're looking at something. You also notice our optics that we have on here. We haven't really addressed this yet, but if you're looking for something that you need to have tucked away, that you need to have on you, that needs to be always on, we're generally going to recommend Aimpoint. So right here we have an Aimpoint T2. You really can't go wrong with it. We have a Trijicon SRS because I'm an autistic idiot, but running something like an EOTech is great. EOTechs are amazing for night vision shooting. They're amazing for CQB. However, the battery life does leave a bit to be desired compared to an Aimpoint. You can't just leave an EOTech on. They will auto shut off. And compared to an Aimpoint, you can leave this thing on for a very, very long time. So again, there's going to be more than one consideration when it comes to your PCCs. You can also see that these are set up a little bit differently. Most of these have a full powered weapon light on here. That's going to be important. Being able to positively ID what you're looking at in a chaotic situation is going to be very important. Now, we've done a lot of talking. Let's do a lot of shooting now. Let's run roughly the same course of fire. We'll be adding one target at 100.
.36.
Nice.
Pretty good run. Accuracy was good. Yeah, that first target gave you a little bit of trouble, but you were able to quickly make up those shots because you had, third and fourth point of contact on the weapon.
Exactly. Good alpha. Cool, feels good. Alphas across the board. This is at the first far target. Corrected, feels good. All right, 27.
Cool. That backpack, whatever, you're one strapping it?
I know.
Yeah.
We got alphas. We got alphas there, and then all targets hit. So, good job.
I will say I kind of cheated a little bit. I was on a knee.
So, it's okay. You can't cheat and hit crime. All right, you just finish up with our pistol caliber carbines. A lot easier. The bag added more complexity to it than we originally thought it would, mostly in closing the bag. Now, there are a lot of concealed carry bags that are Velcro that access to a different compartment that doesn't carry all your main contents. Again, if you're going to do that, just make sure that it blends in. How was it running with the MPX, John?
I loved it. This being the 8-inch barrel, it was a little bulky in there, especially whenever you have light and all this other stuff. but I mean, I love the platform, so like I think I did all right with it.
Yeah, the APC 9K was nice. As far as attaching the quick attach suppressor, that was didn't really add much time at all. And on a gun like this, I think it makes the most sense. So these are super nice. It's just, yeah, you got to figure out a way to carry them with you, whether it be in your car or in a bag. And there's just an extra level there. However, definitely a lot more lethality and be able to carry this, a lot more capability, because our ability to hit out past 40, 50 yards, much easier. Obviously you can shoot, you know, at 100 with a pistol, but man, it is so much easier when you have a stock.
Yeah, and if it gets to the point where you're just carrying this slung and like you have your backpack or whatever, but this is already out and like visible, then you should start considering why not just go ahead and upgrade to an actual rifle cartridge. So,
exactly, and which will be our very next discussion fact as we get into rifles. We are now at rifles. So there is a ton of capability when it comes to carrying a rifle with you. But there's a lot that you have to think about, mostly due to both size and due to the amount of concussion that you're going to be getting from the weapon. So we have a couple different options here. Most of these are fairly short barreled, and we have a couple oddballs in here. This isn't completely, you know, the whole catalog of compact 5.56 rifles. I'm sure many people will interject with their own, and that's totally cool. We just wanted to show you a good smattering. So right here we have the Geissele PDW, they also call it the GFW. It is an 8-inch barrel 5.56. Now typically we say don't go below 10, but on these very purpose-built PDW weapons that were commissioned by SOCOM, the 8-inch or the 7.75 has become the norm for very close fighting. Me and John were actually just talking about this. You do lose a lot of ballistics with a very short barrel like this, but with the right ammo choices,
yeah, you can still do a lot of work, especially with like 77 grain, 70 grain TSX.
Yeah, 70 grain TSX, 77 grain, 68 grain boat tail hollow points, like those will all do very well. So we have one option right here, and the nice thing about it is it's very compact, and once you need it, you simply just rip it out and it deploys that stock, and you can collapse it to whatever size that you need. This is a handy weapon. Obviously, you have things like the lawful that work now, especially the newer ones where they can fire while closed. So those are also very cool. And then we have a couple other options that aren't quite AR-15s. So, John?
Yeah, so I like, as much as it's scoffed at, like an 8-inch barrel 5.56, because people, I mean, they'll try to discount it, but that thing's, I mean, it's going to shred you in like normal like CQB distances. It's still a piece of like copper, steel, and maybe lead that hits you at over 1,000 miles an hour. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Death.
But really the biggest concern, in my opinion, with running a platform like this is going to be concussion, because a 10.3 is already ridiculously bad with concussion, and 8-inch is even worse. So I would absolutely recommend a can on there of some kind.
Yep.
The Hux cans are great. But with that shorter barrel, you're still going to get quite a bit of flash and sparks coming out the end. And yeah, like we said earlier, good ammo choice, whether that's the old standby 77 grain Sierra Magic King, that was like a GWAT favorite.
Oh yeah.
There's also the Hornady SBR specific ones, which have an optimized propellant in it that works in short barrels really well. But anyways,
it's come a long way in short barrel technology for 5.56.
it's great. It's just, I mean, you got to know its limitations on something super compact versus just having a little bit more barrel.
And people are also asking about the tape trick. Yeah, you can have the tape trick on this. Just make sure you don't find yourself in a position where you fire with that tape on. Compared to a pistol suppressor, rifle suppressors get really hot really fast, and you're gonna melt that tape straight on there, which isn't that big of a deal, just kind of a pain in the ass later on. Okay, from the GFW, we also have the MCX right here, one of John's favorite platforms.
Yeah, I like it because, I mean, I can do just about anything with it. I do like this stock, like this dual bar stock or whatever, because especially if I'm like in a vehicle and I need to extend it, I can just press the button and then like rip it out.
Yeah.
So if versus a folding one, got to kind of do this number.
Fell over.
No, but you can select like any different. You can even put a buffer tube on there if you want to be like plain Jane with it. But I love it. You can also put super short 300 black barrels in here. It's like Legos but for men. So yeah, that's my preferred platform when it comes to 5.56 like PDWs.
Yeah. And obviously this one's completely set up for night vision use, for CQB. It's got a low power variable optic. What's great with a little bit of magnification, which we're about to talk about again, is that you can positively ID targets. You need to imagine how chaotic situations can get. Being able to identify the people who are shooting at you, who are not shooting at you, who has a gun and who doesn't have a gun, is going to be the difference between ending a fight and maybe making a mistake that will haunt you for the rest of your life. So make sure you're able to positively ID whatever that might look like.
Just a dot on a super shorty, that's like if you're in like a very, very urban environment, I would go with something like that. But like around here, Idaho, then I'd start to consider throwing like a 1 to 8, 1 to 6 on it versus something else. And then from there, yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah, so Centurion upper, Colt lower. I mean, this has been fantastic so far, and it's got a basic dot on it, a great one, aim point, Comp M4S looks like. And then I love flip over magnifiers.
Okay, we need to talk about magnifiers for a second because they are so helpful to have. Go ahead, John. They're obsessed with magnifiers. Yeah. You're the magnifier guy. So what's your fetish?
Magnifiers.
G33.
So I'm pretty sure this is 3 power. Might be, oh yeah, it's 3 power. So this scope on 3 power, it'll whoop this thing's ass. Like no one's arguing that. But I can't, I could split that now, but then it's not going to work anymore. This, I can take a bunch of weight off the gun, and I can also give it to a buddy if he's going to overwatch me. So then he can throw this on, and if he has a lower third height optic, then now he has the capability to get better PID out at distance.
It's nice because, again, like, John's like, I'm with John or something, he can easily pop that off, and I can just use this as just a spotting device. So there's a lot that can be done. These are just awesome.
Yeah, and no one's really disputing that this is definitely faster than an LPBO. Not that they're slow, but like nothing beats a dot in CQB distances.
Now with this is a more traditionally sized AR-15. This is an 11-inch barrel right here. So this isn't as compact as some of the options we talked about with how we have it right here. It's just really not that small. That being said, they're well vetted, they work well. Again, it's going to depend on your environment. Now, right here we have an old ball. Now, we're not specifically saying Desert Tech is the best, but what we are showing you is a bullpup. A bullpup has a magazine behind the trigger pack right here, so that you have a very compact weapon system. So this has an 11-inch barrel. As you can see, it is significantly smaller than our typical AR-15 and is about the same size of our GFW.
Without a can.
Yeah, without a can. So, but you have a lot more barrel lengths, you have a lot more capability. So these are definitely cool. They have their quirks about them, understand, but we will still be showing it. Now, we've done a lot of talking at this point. Let's go ahead, let's run the same drill that we ran with the pistol caliber carbines, and let's see how each of these does. We'll just start with these just low ready and go from there. Okay, same drill as we did with carbines. Shots at almost 100, and then moving in, same drill, see how it runs.
Get ready. Stand by.
Oh no, I'm out.
Oh, you're out. It's 15.
Nice. I'll take. You know what? Solid, clean hit right through the center. Single shot through the engine block. All right, that one felt pretty good. Again, me messing up that far shot. That was me pulling the trigger on those. We got it. A little bit of a rough time. Yep. 13-2-3. Nice. Good. You got alphas, Alpha Charlie, alphas. Mine were alphas, but I missed the far target more than John did, so I would consider this equal on that one. That was pretty good.
This thing ran really well.
Yeah, ran really good. Okay, next gun.
All right, you ready? Stand by.
$16.07.
Look good?
Yeah, it looked good. It's just, I bet it was a little bit more tricky with the 1 to 6 on there.
Oh yeah.
Not that it's slow, but it's not as easy as a dot.
With the LPBO, yeah, I definitely felt it. There's a couple times where I brought it up and I was like, whew, all alphas. All alphas. Good. Didn't miss the target, so that felt good. Jan. Whoa.
Whoa. Oh, whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
13-1-8. Good job, John.
This one, I just point shot.
Oh, at that one?
I'm
Yeah.
not looking to the scope if you're that close.
It was quick. Alphas. It's like
I think it's Charlie on there.
Yep, Charlie, Alpha Charlie on that one.
That'll make this.
Alphas. Cool. Good. Just one Charlie for John. Next gun.
All right, shooter ready, stand by.
$12.89.
Nice. He was my fastest one. I shoot too much, but I love this gun too.
Another thing that I literally just noticed right then, like short barrel rifles are great, but already right there I felt the concussion way more than the PCCs, which is definitely a consideration if you're not running a can.
So brings up point. Let's see. Alpha. 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 Okay. All alphas. Feels good. I think that was my best run yet. Yep. Bye. Shooting 11.69.
Ooh. Looks like one Charlie, and then one Charlie over there.
Yep.
Stand by.
$13.02.
That was quick in the car.
Looks like you got all alphas.
Nice.
Yeah, all alphas.
Sick. All alpha. 13. Take it. You definitely feel the recoil on that more compared to the more traditional designs. Just a consequence of the bullpup. Waits a little more back so it kicks up on it.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Bye.
It's hitting. Okay. All right. I see where it's hitting. It changed the point of impact.
Stand by.
$12.42. Good run, man. So John we had to throw a suppressor on that guy because just didn't want to at all.
A lot of concussion, but no, not so much.
Not so much. Okay, let's check out Don shots. Alphas. Alpha Charlie, Alpha. One Charlie, John. That was good. Cool. That was really good. So John's point of impact did shift with the suppressor. That's something that should be noted. When you zero without a suppressor, go to a suppressor, you're going to run into some changes. Okay, let's go ahead and let's finish up. Let's talk about everything all together and see where we are.
Fucking hot.
We didn't even fire that much out of it.
Okay, so we have now finished up the rifles. Between everything that I use here, obviously the easiest for me is going to be the, basic AR-15 that I know and love. Because for me personally, this is a weapon system I train the most on. Very close to that is going to be the GFW for me. The issue I have with it is due to the short barrel length, although it is very good for those very compact environments, I find that the amount of wear that we're seeing on the parts, and especially the need to use a suppressor no matter what, just due to the amount of concussion, and then because of how short that barrel is, how little gunpowder burns, how hot that suppressor will get. I don't know if going as short as this is really, great, but it certainly does work. But I would definitely, if I was going to carry something that's already kind of close in size, I'm probably just going to like a 10.3 or an 11, personally, if I'm going to go with a rifle. Besides that, the MCX ran great as always. LPDO was a little weird to use at first, and then the Desert Tech, compared to these, just didn't feel as good, personally. But it was very compact and very easy to maneuver in a car.
Yeah, like that thing's phenomenal, and I mean it is a good product because it's Geisley, but it needs special, I guess you could say, accommodations.
Special care.
Yeah, you're gonna want to use definitely a suppressor, and fall ammo is it's gonna be fine. Let's be real, but you definitely want to use like heavier weight grain rounds that oxidize better in shorter barrels. That's what I definitely recommend for that. General purpose, like it's so hard to beat, just like a plain Jane fucking 11.5.
And they really don't cost that much either. So when we talk costs, like things like the Geisley GFW, the MCX, the Desert Tech costs a lot compared to like this. The Colt upper was, the Centurion upper was like 800, and then the lower is like $100, and boom, you got yourself a functioning gun. Of course, you got to put on optics and everything, but cost-wise, I think this makes a lot more sense for most people.
Especially, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're absolutely not going to be outgunned, despite it being cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go with like the Reddit special, an arrow lower, BCM upper or something. That's
Great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It is a very, very compact weapon like the BCM 11.5s. It's just, do you want to be seen like toting this around? Especially if, also look at it this way, if things start to really deteriorate and then all over the news, everyone's, because, you know, fear sells. Everyone's hearing, oh my God, people with guns, or they're robbing people, they're killing people, taking their stuff, and you're the first guy they see with a long gun.
Yeah.
Like, especially if they're not gun people to begin with, they might know you and they might feel, okay, that guy's good, but I mean, what if they don't? And then they think, oh, that's one of those guys that the news is telling me to worry about. So it's, you get all this capability, but you are making yourself a bigger target.
This is definitely a things have gone much more wrong versus they're going wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
So,
a good way to look at it.
when I look at a rifle, I definitely think of, you know, things have digressed quite a bit more than they were. They've degraded quite a bit more than they are, for example, in the next couple of years here. I'd say closest to that is probably going to be the PCC, which you have right in your hand.
Yeah, versus
Incredible.
something very overt like this versus something like this just in a bag. I mean, if you want to get crazy with it, throw it in your girlfriend's purse or something. But a lot of capability with
Both of you
this.
to assume they have girlfriends.
That's true. That's true. A lot of capability with this. But like we said earlier, it's like, I mean, cost. So
100%. You know, kind of coming down to the end here, and I'm looking at everything. We've shot everything. I think it's kind of what you guys likely suspect, which is I find it really hard to beat the concealability and the compactness of a good handgun. You know, this is something that you can always have on you. So this is going to be an always thing for me, is going to be a handgun. They just work so well. If things are truly getting worse, I would say the closest thing I'm going to be carrying after that is going to be some type of PCC with a quick attach suppressor if I need to be quiet. But I think you really cannot go wrong with a good handgun for most situations to be able to get yourself out of dodge.
yeah, it's so. At least for me personally, I carry my 43X, and those magazines aren't compatible with like any of this other stuff.
Sure.
So I'm totally fine with running that and an MPX until it's rifle time, right?
100%.
But if I had a 19, then I would strongly look at something that takes Glock mags for that, because I mean, if it actually gets crazy, and I'm not even going to touch my pistol unless I absolutely have to. I'm going to use the mags from that into the more shootable platform.
What do they say? Your pistol gets you to your fighting gun.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So. If you have something like a 19, then and you want to get a PDW like this, I mean, I would consider something like this that takes a Glock mags, just because it's so easily interchangeable. But if you're running something that's not that, then I'd say the option of something like an MPX or something else, it's not as, I guess, burdensome, because the mags aren't compatible anyway at that point.
I mean, here's the thing, guys. With all the equipment we have here, the most important thing is you. If you're not trained with those weapons, you saw that on certain of these weapons we didn't perform as good, and that's simply due to more unfamiliarity with it compared to platforms that we use more, such as AR-15 and Glocks. So the thing that's going to matter most is going to be you. Make sure that you're getting the training, and then from there, understand and select the components based off of where you live and what's going to work best for your situation. There's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. That's going to be very disingenuous of us to say. So please do your research, use this as a primer, and go forward from there. Any final thoughts, John?
Really, the last thing I want to add is PCCs, PCIs. So that's something the military is really big on.
People probably aren't familiar with that term, if you want to describe it, I guess.
So PCCs, pre-combat checks, and PCIs, pre-combat inspections. And it's just, as the name implies, it's if there's a high likelihood of you being in combat, then you want to check your equipment and also your soldiers. So that's everything from looking at your witness marks, making sure you have fresh batteries in or good enough batteries, making sure you got round in the chamber, a good serviceable magazine, because the magazines are wear parts, the correct ammo. This also gets to, yes, you should train often. However, if you're using training ammo, that's typically less powerful than defensive ammo. If you have your adjustable gas block on there, that's cool. Just make sure you tone it back down for whenever you're running that hotter ammo.
And try to run some of your defensive ammo each training set.
Yes, that's true, because like we saw with running the can on the Wolverine, it had a slight POI shift, not much, but it was still a shift. And with running defensive ammo that might be a different grain weight or hotter, it's most likely going to have some shift. Now, it might not be enough of a difference to make a difference. That's a Paul Harrell quote, but it doesn't matter. So just wanted to throw that out there. PCCs, PCIs, just you're not above it, and neither are your friends. Like just check one another. You're bound to miss something, you know.
The most advanced Delta Force space gunner, shuttle gunner dudes do their PCCs, PCIs.
Absolutely. Whenever I was in Iraq, we were doing stuff with CAG. They were checking each other. Like, you can be the most lethal dude on the planet. It doesn't matter. Like, you might miss something, and that's having a buddy helps to check.
Always
check
buddy
each other,
check.
so.
Always buddy check. That's why we do everything. Guys, so thank you so much for watching. There's a lot going on here. Study it. Get in the comments. Tell us all that good information. Final thing for you guys, we a little bit of dad advice. A little bit of dad advice here today is training can take you away from your family. It is very important. Things that I recommend is bring your family with you. Make the training day a family event. Train together, have a good time. It doesn't always have to be something that's, going to a park. Just get out to the range, get out to some public land, do some shooting. Kids will love it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget the Patreon, because it's everything that I don't want you guys to see, how much I mess up sometimes. So go check it out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Nothing else for you now, but always great stuff coming. See you later. See you around.